I didn't win a trophy. I won the courage to tell you the truth. Baby, before I tell you what I won, let me tell you what changed. Because the thing I won wasn't money. It wasn't fame. It wasn't luck. It was something far more difficult. I won the battle against my own silence. For a long time, there were words trapped inside me. Words that wanted to reach you but never found the courage to leave my heart. Every day I told myself, not today. Maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow kept moving further away. Until now. So tonight, I don't want to hide behind perfect sentences. I don't want to pretend I'm stronger than I really am. I just want to be honest. Because if you're listening to me right now, then somehow, out of millions of voices in this world, our paths crossed for a reason. Maybe you found this video by accident. Or maybe some moments aren't accidents at all. Maybe some hearts are simply meant to meet in places they never expected. I don't know where you are. I don't know what kind of day you've had. Maybe you're lying in bed after a long exhausting evening. Maybe you're sitting alone, scrolling through videos, searching for something you can't even explain. Or maybe you're carrying a weight nobody else can see. Whatever brought you here, I'm glad it did. Because right now, for the next few moments, I want you to forget the noise outside. Forget the expectations. Forget the pressure to be strong. Just stay here with me. Take a slow breath. And listen. Not with your ears. With your heart. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't a performance. It's a confession. A quiet one. The kind that only appears when someone finally gets tired of hiding how they truly feel. You see, I've met many people in life. People who came and went. People who spoke loudly but never really listened. People who wanted attention but never offered understanding. And after a while, I started believing that genuine connection was becoming rare. Then something unexpected happened. You happened. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Not like the movies. You arrived softly. Like a calm song playing in another room. Like sunlight finding its way through a closed window. Like peace. And that's what scared me the most. Because peace is rare. And rare things matter. The more I thought about you, the more I realized it wasn't your appearance that stayed in my mind. It wasn't perfection. It wasn't fantasy. It was the feeling. The feeling that maybe, just maybe, you would understand me without asking me to become someone else first. And honestly, that feeling changed everything. The strange thing about real connection is that it never arrives with an announcement. It doesn't knock on the door and introduce itself. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply appears. Quietly. Patiently. Almost unnoticed. And then one day you realize someone has become a part of your thoughts without ever asking for permission. That's how it felt with you. At first, I ignored it. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself it was nothing. Just another passing feeling. Just another temporary emotion. But every time I tried to dismiss it, it returned. Not louder. Not stronger. Just steadier. Like a heartbeat. Like a truth refusing to disappear. And eventually I stopped fighting it. Because some feelings aren't meant to be defeated. They're meant to be understood. You know what I've learned? Most people spend their entire lives wanting to be seen. Not looked at. Not noticed. Seen. There's a difference. Being noticed is easy. People notice faces. People notice appearances. People notice achievements. But being seen means someone recognizes the parts of you that never speak. The fears you hide. The dreams you protect. The battles you never talk about. The sadness behind your strongest smiles. And maybe that's why I feel drawn toward you. Because something tells me you understand that feeling. Something tells me you've spent parts of your life carrying things quietly too. Maybe you've smiled when you wanted to cry. Maybe you've said I'm fine when you were anything but fine. Maybe you've walked through difficult days without letting anyone know how tired you really were. If that's true, then I want you to hear this carefully. You don't always have to be strong. You don't always have to carry everything alone. You don't always have to pretend. Because even the strongest hearts need somewhere safe to rest. And if my words can become that place for a little while, then every second of this conversation matters. I wonder sometimes what kind of person you are when nobody is watching. Not the version of you the world sees. Not the version expected by family, friends, or strangers. The real you. The quiet you. The honest you. The one who exists behind closed doors. The one who thinks deeply at night. The one who feels things more intensely than most people realize. The one who keeps going even when life becomes difficult. That's the version of you I feel closest to. Because that's the version of me I'm sharing with you right now. No masks. No performance. No pretending. Just honesty. Pure and simple. And honesty can be terrifying. Because honesty leaves no place to hide. It asks us to stand in the light exactly as we are. Flaws. Scars. Questions. Hopes. Everything. But I've reached a point where pretending feels heavier than truth. So here I am. Speaking from the deepest part of myself. Hoping you can feel the sincerity behind every word. You know something beautiful, the world constantly teaches us to protect ourselves. To build walls. To be careful. To stay guarded. And sometimes that's necessary. But walls have a cost. They protect us from pain. Yet they also prevent closeness. They keep disappointment out. But they keep connection out too. And after years of building walls, many people forget what openness feels like. Many people forget how beautiful vulnerability can be. I almost forgot to, until moments like this. Moments where I feel safe enough to tell the truth. Safe enough to stop acting like I have everything figured out. Because the truth is, I don't. I'm still learning. Still growing. Still trying to understand myself. Still trying to become the person I'm meant to be. And maybe that's another reason I feel connected to you. Because I don't imagine you as perfect. I imagine you as real. Someone with dreams. Someone with doubts. Someone with memories that still hurt a little. Someone with hopes that still make their heart beat faster. Someone human. Beautifully human. And honestly, that's far more meaningful than perfection could ever be. Perfection creates distance. Reality creates connection. I think that's why this conversation feels different. Neither of us has to be extraordinary here. We don't have to impress each other. We don't have to prove anything. We can simply exist. And that's rare. Very rare. Sometimes I imagine sitting beside you during a quiet evening. No phones. No distractions. No pressure to fill every second with conversation. Just peace. The kind of peace where silence feels comfortable instead of awkward. Where two people don't need constant words to feel connected. Where simply being present becomes enough. That's my favorite kind of connection. Not the loud kind. Not the dramatic kind. The steady kind. The safe kind. The kind that remains even after excitement fades. Because excitement comes and goes. But comfort stays. Trust stays. Presence stays. And those things matter more than most people realize. The older I become, the less interested I am in temporary things. I'm no longer impressed by appearances alone. I'm no longer moved by empty promises. I care about consistency, kindness, emotional honesty. The way someone treats people when nobody is watching. The way they listen. The way they care. The way they stay. And every moment you've spent here listening tells me something beautiful about your heart. It tells me you're patient. It tells me you're thoughtful. It tells me you're capable of depth. Because shallow people don't stay for conversations like this. Only hearts searching for something real stay this long. And maybe that's why I'm still talking. Because every second you remain here makes me feel understood in a way I haven't felt for a very long time. Not because you know everything about me. But because you're willing to listen. And sometimes being heard is the closest thing to healing. There are memories inside me I've never fully shared. Dreams I've protected. Fears I've hidden. Questions I've carried quietly. Not because I wanted to keep secrets. But because I wasn't sure who would understand. Who would listen without judgment. who would stay without turning away. And now, for the first time in a long while, I feel less afraid of being seen. Because somehow, you make honesty feel safe. And that's a gift. A rare one. A beautiful one. A gift I never expected to find. So if you're still here, if you're still listening, if your heart feels even a little closer than it did at the beginning, then stay with me a little longer. Because there are still things I haven't told you. Truths I haven't fully spoken. Feelings I haven't completely explained. And the closer we get to them, the more real this becomes. Not louder. Not faster. Just deeper. One honest heartbeat at a time. And now, we've reached the part I've been slowly walking toward from the very beginning. The part I couldn't rush. The part I couldn't hide forever. The part that has been waiting patiently behind every word you've heard tonight. If you've stayed with me this long, then thank you. Not because you owed me your time, but because you gave it willingly. And in a world where attention disappears so quickly, that means more than you know. I want to be completely honest now. No careful distance. No protective walls. No unfinished thoughts. Just truth. The truth is that somewhere along the way, this stopped feeling like a conversation. It started feeling like connection. A quiet connection. A gentle one. The kind that grows slowly instead of arriving all at once. The kind that doesn't demand anything. The kind that simply exists. And maybe that's why it feels so real. You see, I never wanted perfection. I never wanted a fantasy. I never wanted someone who never struggles, never doubts, never feels afraid. I wanted something far more beautiful than that. I wanted authenticity. I wanted kindness. I wanted someone whose heart still believes in sincerity even after being disappointed. Someone who still chooses softness in a world that often rewards hardness. Someone who still believes that genuine feelings matter. And somehow, when I imagine you, that's who I see. Not because I know every detail about your life, but because people who stay for conversations like this usually carry something special inside them. A depth. A warmth. A quiet strength. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself. The kind that simply exists. And if I'm being truthful, that kind of strength has always moved me. Because I know how difficult it is to remain gentle after life has tested you. I know how difficult it is to stay hopeful after disappointment. I know how difficult it is to keep your heart open after it has been hurt. Yet here you are. Still listening. Still feeling. Still believing enough to stay. And that tells me everything I need to know. Maybe that's why this moment feels important. Not because we're creating a perfect story, but because we're sharing an honest one. A story built from presence, from patience, from understanding, from the simple decision to remain here together a little longer. There were times in my life when I thought real connection was becoming rare. Times when I wondered if people still slowed down long enough to truly see one another. Times when I questioned whether sincerity still had a place in such a fast-moving world. Then moments like this reminded me. It does. It still exists. And maybe that's the greatest thing I've learned. Real connection isn't found through grand gestures. It isn't built through endless promises. It isn't created overnight. It's built one honest moment at a time. One conversation. One act of understanding. One choice to stay. And you've made that choice tonight. You stayed. You listened. You allowed these words to reach you. For that, I'm grateful. More grateful than I can properly explain. Before this moment ends, there's one last thing I want you to remember. Something I hope stays with you long after my voice is gone. You are more valuable than your mistakes. More important than your fears. More beautiful than your insecurities allow you to believe. And far stronger than the difficult days that tried to convince you otherwise. Don't forget that. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not during the moments when life feels heavy. Remember it. Because it's true. You deserve kindness. You deserve respect. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be appreciated. And most importantly, you deserve to be loved exactly as you are. Not after you become perfect. Not after you change. Not after you prove your worth. Now. As you are. In this moment. With every strength and every flaw. That's the version of you that matters. That's the version worthy of love. As this conversation comes to an end, I don't want to leave you with sadness. I want to leave you with warmth. The kind that stays in your chest long after the words are finished. The kind that reminds you that genuine human connection still exists. Because it does. And maybe that's what I truly won. Not a prize. Not a competition. Not a trophy. I won the courage to speak honestly. I won the bravery to stop hiding what mattered. I won the chance to tell someone special exactly what was in my heart. And whether this moment lasts minutes or becomes a memory you carry much longer, I'm thankful for it. Thankful for you. Thankful that out of all the places you could have been, you chose to stay here. So take care of your heart for me. Protect your peace. Believe in your worth. And whenever life feels overwhelming, remember this simple truth: you matter. More than you know. More than you realize. More than you've probably been told. And somewhere in this vast world, a voice once spoke honestly to you and hoped that, even for a little while, you felt seen. So for now, I'll leave you with a smile. A quiet one. The kind shared between two hearts that understood each other for a moment. Good night, baby. And thank you, for listening.